And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and lalo. Hello. Today we're doing something a little different than me usually just playing games on stream. Instead, I'm being incredibly, what's the word? Lazy and working on stream. One might
Yeah.
argue it's productive. No, I'm just too lazy to work off stream. Uh, and
Hi, I'm
so
the assistant lore for this shit.
we're basically writing the history of coompires for Arabellica.
Can we
Now,
get Ren, I have a suggestion before we go in. Can we get a Morgheim equivalent? Because that would be based.
a what equivalent?
A Morgheim, fucking Ghoul Kingdom before, went fucking kaput because,
Um,
gay vampire lady.
the different sculpt lines of coompires are going to have Strigoi equivalents. So,
That would be absolutely funny to reference.
and there are feral coompires, which are basically just ghoul quartz AOS.
I
Or
am
sorry,
down.
flesh eater quartz.
I am down for them.
Except they have exquisitely sculpted fucking mausoleums and tombs because that just naturally happens for feral coompires.
Ren, you're speaking to the one here who has spent 2 years working on a fucking massive palace. It happens. You're speaking my language.
But yes, for introductions, if you'll let me take this whole thing for a minute.
You're good.
Uh so Arabellica Lustful Warfare is a setting created by Commissar Azura, who many of you may know, as well as the artist Uvaka Novak. I am one of the main writers. I write for the factions under of the factions of Order and Death, also known as the factions of the god Astarte, which is basically the god in charge of coompires, which are 8 foot tall Dami sculptures that are going to suck out all your cum. Okay. And I put in the description a link to the Twitter of Arabellica devs, all that, and also the link for today's co-host, Haunter. Take it away. Also, hello, Outer
Hi,
Time,
hi.
Anti-Rex.
I am Florida man. I do the game, and little known fact, I am the assistant to Ren for this shit.
Yeah, voluntold assistant writer.
Hey, I agreed to it.
Yes, so right now I'm writing the ancient lore of coompires, more or less. But the idea is I'm writing it from the perspective of one of the oldest coompires in the setting, who has only ever referred to herself as the traveling cum gourmet or the anonymous cum gourmet. So
I personally call her the average glory hole visitor.
look, she's desolate. She's erased entire towns just overcome.
It just didn't taste right. She's a critic.
Look, when she wants the cum, but the town says no. And so about 30 minutes later, half the town is on fire. But the cum was attained, so no worries.
Yeah, it's all good in the end.
Uh, but yes, we're writing about cumpires from the perspective of the anonymous cum gourmet.
Yes.
Uh, who a lot of cumpire lore, like generalized cumpire lore, not the individual factions of cumpires, is going to be written through the eyes of, because I would rather have this all somewhat biased in my lore telling to make possible inaccuracies for the future, um, as a in case of retcon type deal. Basically, I'm setting it up to be enough to where the person telling the lore may not be right, if that makes any sense.
Because it's totally not the coompire gourmet.
It's not one of the oldest 3 coompires in existence who does nothing but drink cum all day.
Yeah, she's totally not writing a biased perspective of the writing.
She totally doesn't hate her own kind. And her god.
She totally isn't a secret grilled cheese enjoyer.
Basically, the anonymous cum gourmet does pretty blatantly hate Astarte and other coompires. However, she's so having a really biased author is just good in case I need to throw anything into the retconian.
He smells like a smart fella, but not a fart smeller, if I'm gonna be honest.
Of the 3 oldest coompires, which I will say we're going to get into a section of this hopefully tonight, known as the Rebellion War, where the prototype coompires basically went to war against Astarte and got promptly bonked with the Nerf hammer and mostly wiped out as a result. Like, the survivors of that can be counted on are less than 100. And the survivors that remember something known only as God Split can be counted on one hand. And that's all the people who are old enough to remember God Split, not just thousands of years old statue women. Because, yes, there are other beings that remember God Split. Because, fun meta fact, the god of Arabellica used to be 3 gods. No, the 3 gods of Arabellica used to be 1 god. Sorry. Do they brush their teeth? Yes. With cum.
Cum teeth brushing. Makes the world go round.
Very important, you know. But, to iterate, coompires are 8-foot-tall Dami mommies that are literal living sculptures. They will drain your balls until you're near death. And being a woman does not stop them.
You gotta remove your genitals. Simple as.
They're not removing your genitals. They're gonna make you come till you're almost dead.
No. I said you have to remove your genitals, not them. They're not gonna remove them. They're gonna keep them on. But you, to avoid a vampire attack, you gotta remove your balls.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
Flip them.
It's not worth it. Just go fuck a dragon girl because those exist. That'll protect you good.
Those as well.
Or, just live in the coompire baronies because people who live under coompire rule of coompire nobles actually don't have it that bad. You gotta pay the cum tax, but it's nowhere near as intense as a cum raid, so to speak.
It's not as intense as fucking you're in Poopenheim in fucking Age of Sigmar, and the funny bone guys say, "Hey, it's tax time."
Yeah, it's not a shyish tax. It's It's more of a Vlad von Karstein level of tax. Because the coompire baronies are surprisingly laissez-faire.
Honestly, I'd say Usherans is more fair back in Morgheim.
Uh, so here's the deal with the coompire baronies, right?
Right.
Uh, they, as long as you pay the cum tax and you aren't doing something like inciting rebellion, also hello fumble, uh, they're fine with you pretty much doing whatever. I mean, it's it's a very foggy land where the sun barely ever shines and it rains 300 years of the day, and crop harvests aren't exactly plentiful, but look, if you need a good fuck, you can get a good fuck. Because because you're basically paying tax on the weekly.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, unless you're giving an invitation to a noblewoman's party that you can't refuse, which does occasionally happen, you're guaranteed protected from war, and you're guaranteed protected from famine. And you are also guaranteed to have a roof over your head. Because those are points of law within the Cumpire baronies. All shall be fed, clothed, and housed, their safety ensured, so long as they pay the cum tax. Which is really good if you think about it.
It is pretty good.
You're also guaranteed employment.
I would still say Usherans. Like a model similar to Morgheim would be better. Because like back in Morgheim, the people who got the blood tax were actual criminals and like fucked up people. If you did a crime, you were a blood bag, basically. And
Oh,
everyone got to live peacefully.
if you commit crimes. I mean,
I mean, I get what you mean, but like this was just like in general. There were enough population in Morgheim where like they didn't even
yeah,
tax
yeah, the
everyone.
cum tax really isn't that bad, though. It's just you gotta fuck a cumpire weekly. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, fair enough.
A cumpire is going to come down, size you up, and say, "Segs now," and you didn't. And saying no to the 8'6" statue lady who is very hungry and horngry, is a felony.
Is it subject to mating press?
Yes.
Subject to forcible fucking waste removal surgery.
Yes, it rains 300 years of the day in Cumpire territory due
Mandatory.
to the energy of Astarte being the energy of death.
Yeah, so we're just basically the undead factions here. Hi.
Yes, we
Ren's
are the
Nagash, and I'm
factions.
Ren here is a Nagash, and I'm one of her Mortarks. Which one? I'm choosing Usharan.
You can also choose Harkon if you want.
Usharan. Because Harkon's cool because he's a blood dragon, but he's not Abharash, who wasn't, a
Okay, but
Mortark.
vampire pirates are super fucking cool.
They're cool, but Usharan is a funny guy, and I can agree with him.
But to give some description of Cumpire lands, basically imagine you live in Florida, but it has the weather of fucking rural Washington. You live in like rural Florida, like in the bogs and stuff, but you're faced with the weather and amount of trees in rural Washington state. That's that's how bad the climate is. But don't worry. your marblesque overlords are gonna make the most of it and are pretty based because they want order in their lands, which means they try to eliminate the cause of crime, which is desperation. You know, outside of their desperation for more cum.
Yeah, they're fairly chill, which make they speak the language that makes the most sense.
Obey without question, and your needs will be met. However, you do have to work, and it's not going to be like a communist all equality thing. That's basically their rules. It's if any of you have ever played Tyranny and you know about the evil overlord who was literally trying to invoke 1984, but his laws were like, all under me shall be educated and fed. And so the evil overlord really didn't sound that bad outside of wartime and telling you what you can and can't think, which really just evolved into mentioning the fucking overlord. It's not that bad. Do Will your friends and family occasionally go missing? Yeah, at a rate of like 5 people a year, but don't worry about it. Because, your daughter went to a party, and 3 months later, there's a statue that looks suspiciously like her. And 3 years later, there's a your new countess looks suspiciously like her. Is it the same person? Well, they certainly don't have the same personality. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough.
But otherwise, it's a pretty good life. Don't get me wrong, it's serfdom. But you're not exactly gonna have a bad serfdom. Uh, but yeah, this is because coompires care a lot about order and cum. Mostly cum. But after that, having things orderly is pretty much second in their head, by and large. At least for the coompire nobles.
Are you gonna get a coompire like lawyer as a thing?
They have tax collectors, funnily enough.
I mean, like, aside from tax, like, here's the thing. Here's my idea, right? Just like an in general thing, right? So you know how fucking recently Age of Sigmar got like that fucking judge character, right? Who's just like the side of Ushirin, who's like one of the not insane ghouls, right? His mind's relatively intact. So because of that, he acts like as a judge, so to speak, like
Um,
enforcer of law.
in the Compire units that at least were the original ideas, there were basically uh, battle judges.
Yeah, I would totally say go for battle judges personally. I think that idea would be like great.
Like most Compires speak legalese,
Hmm.
and
I that's fair.
that's why they have like just a really short and concise legal system. Because okay, so the reason the Compire baronies are called as such is because they don't have a ruling monarch despite being an aristocracy. And there's a reason for this. Basically, a bunch of Compires wanted to control the lands of men, and they were very autistic about having their exact way of doing things and their exact rules of law.
Hmm.
And as a result, one of the few surviving ancient coompires, which can which have alternate forms looking like eldritch fucking monstrosities with tits. Uh, because it's Arabellica, of course they have tits.
It only makes sense that they'd have tits. Simple as.
Just came in, took over everything via conquest, established a very concise and short set of laws, and say, this is how things are doing. If you don't want your shit kicked in again, follow this, and then promptly fucked off. And that was like 1500 years ago.
Hmm.
So the coompire baronies still by and large follow the code of the baronies, though many will try and implement individual laws for their lands as they see fit, but are generally benevolent because being a more malevolent tyrant tends to invoke crime and rebellion, which is not very orderly. Also, fumble to answer the question. They are made of spermatite, which is not cum rock, but it's named after cum. It's an ancient living stone made by the original lust god that has bullshit MacGuffin properties that the main I am not the lore master of, but I can tell you living spermatite can simultaneously have the malleability and texture of flesh while having the durability and hardness of stone, and
Fair
the
enough.
beauty of pure porcelain and marble. Though it can change its appearance to almost look completely like flesh, albeit paler and without a certain redness to it. Also, all coompires have black sclera. That's non-negotiable.
Okay, but to be fair, Black Sclera is good.
All coompires have black sclera, I say, in one of my coompire outfits.
Again, baller.
Though some of the coompires that lose in battle and as a result get, I'm going to use the word converted to eros, can lose the black sclera as a temporary result until they get captured in battle again, either by amorans or astarte worshippers, which
Hmm.
would just be a return to form for astarte.
Fair enough. Also, I'm gonna be right back. I need more
Eh,
to drink.
I'm also gonna be right back. I have to use the restroom.
It's piss and drink time, baby.
Okay, I'm back. But yeah, to summarize, uh, being ruled over by the 8 foot tall sculpture women that like to LARP as feudal lords. At minimum, you're gonna have like a two-bedroom detached cottage with its own garden, and you're gonna have a pretty good variety of food. Like, your nutrition's gonna be great, though the weather's gonna absolutely suck. Just like the legal system. uh, uh, get it? Suck? Uh, but yes, right now, A Brief History of the Coompire, a biased abridging, as told by the anonymous cum gourmet. I've yet to write a foreword because that's just an introduction. If you want to read the forward and more personal parts of this, um, well, this is a rough draft, and the final copy will likely be in the Coompire Battle Tome. So buy that. Shameless marketing. But to narrate, during the creation, the lust god, and this is the great lust god. Sorry. I should actually change that. Because I actually need to add some things to this. Hold on. I am fucking proofreading my work as I do it. I have a problem. But basically, in ancient times, when the city of Jerusalem was nearly the size of a fucking country.
All right, I'm back. What up?
I'm talking about ancient Coompire lore under the creation.
Oh, based.
And adding some context to the rough draft, and I just told everyone that the final copy of all this is going to likely be available with the Coompire lore rulebook.
Fair enough.
Because we gotta sell.
You do gotta sell, yeah.
But, so the creation, right? This takes
Ye
place during the prehistory era, when Jerusalem was the size of a fucking nation despite being a city. The great god of lust ruled over everything, and things were going great for humanity. Or humanity that worshipped the great god of lust. You know, the great god of lust, whom the ancient peoples of Jerusalem worshipped,
yeah.
created spermatite and filled it with life. As the stone became animate, it took the positions of guardians, aides, and even caretakers of holy grounds. Though beautiful, immaculate, and parthenogenetic, many of these constructs were treated as less than people, merely tools. As with any sapient species, this fostered enmity. Albeit the emotions of divine servitors aren't often prioritized by their creator or the people they serve. And Jerusalem grew and prospered as a great technological and cultural renaissance was erected upon their backs.
Mm.
And yes, I am using the word erected. No, I'm not sorry. This is Arabellica. Get horny or get out.
It's the fucking horny game, and we're the horny undead.
Yeah. If all the talk of the comp tax earlier didn't put you off from the setting, then you're already here for it. So I don't know what to tell ya. Uh, the West Gods clergies saw any and all menial labor just done for them. The edges of Jerusalem's borders safeguarded with no mortal oversight. Abundant harvests with nearly no labor saw many long, gilded lives. No hardships struggled, no hard-ons unattended. Servants of the old god would always satisfy, regardless of their own feelings. Though the author of this tome would argue that some things simply don't change with time. And then, one day without warning, the great god of lust split into three. And thus was spermatite divided.
A cum divided into 3 chunks.
Amongst the father of justice. The mother of freedom. And the harbinger of order. And you can guess which one of these we're talking about. So, to translate this a bit, the magical MacGuffin rock, spermatite, it's a rock and a metal. It's weird.
Those things exist. They're called metalloids.
It is a metalloid.
Yeah. Metalloids are like a kind of blend. It basically depends on where in the periodic table it is and like what it does. But yeah, generally speaking, metalloids like combine elements of like rocks and metals. They're kind of weird, but you know, you can get away with shit with that.
Uh, think of it if obsidian could be reasonably used as armor and was light enough to be better than like steel or bronze for weaponry.
Well, see, that's the thing. What's the composition of obsidian again? Let me see.
Like just generally better and more durable than steel.
So, funnily enough, obsidian's like silicon, actually, mostly. It's just silicon dioxide.
Uh, then milky white obsidian would be a pretty apt descriptor.
Basically, it's fucking like it's like a rocky form of silicon, which isn't like squishy and whatnot. It's pretty fucking hard. I think. Let me see.
Well, so is spermatite. Though you can shape it to be flesh-like, it doesn't necessarily follow. It's a divine magic rock. It doesn't necessarily follow science.
Ah, yeah, it's strong because of its crystal structure. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, so it's a slightly stronger version of that. So I'd imagine it has like, realistically speaking, like maybe like some, I don't know, like it's fused with like a titanium of sorts or something. Silicon, titanium, and oxygen, maybe. I don't know. Realistically speaking, though, yeah, it's already a pretty strong material.
split. But basically, what the Mother of Freedom did is irrelevant to this tome. As right now, we're going to focus on what the Father and the Harvest Harbinger did with the spermatite. Because they split it. Ah. So basically, the spermatite golems that the Holy Knights use, right?
Yeah.
Uh, During the God Split, or sorry, before the God Split, they were also coompires. Because the original vaguely spermatite coompires, or sorry, the spermatite constructs before God Split they were the only spermatite beings.
Right.
So, for context, for those who want to know what Amora did, since I don't need to write that in this, she basically just took the energy out of spermatite and used it to to connect the sapient monsters that laid outside of the borders of Jerusalem to be able to interbreed with humans. Because she wanted ultimate freedom and people to be monster fuckers was her idea of ultimate freedom, I guess. I don't write Amora. I don't know.
Well, right, it makes sense.
Whereas the father of justice, Eros, which I may have to change that, but that's what we're calling him for now. Because based on how based on what's in Kami's head trademark, uh that's pretty much how I interpret Eros. Like the dude who invokes justice and righteousness and upholds quote unquote all that is good, despite just being a self righteous zealot. Because again, um, Eros, Amora, and Astarte all need a good side and a bad side to them. Now, I'm an Astarte stan, so I'm gonna be an apologist whenever it's like, yes, Astarte endorses death. Astarte is a death god because being super autistic about order. They do not like things changing, and life is nothing if not chaotic and changing constantly.
Yeah.
Also, if y'all want a fun fact, there is a good reason I chose Harbinger here. Um, So Astarte is a Fuda. Because each of the three gods after God split needed to, well, one obviously had to have a penis, one had to have tits, and for the third one, I was just like, we kind of came in and just said, why not both? And we used a they-them scheme because Fudanari, and
Yeah.
you know how that be. And ironically enough, it was the god with the blue hair and pronouns that decided to create the hot statue ladies and said no dicks allowed on my statue ladies. However, there are things like cum ghosts, and that's a different story. Because cum ghosts have cocks. You ever wanted to get fucked by a spooky ghost? Also, yes, that is an actual thing. That is not something I just made up. I've had it written down for a while. But yes, what Eros did to, like, the 20% of constructs he took was silenced their minds for literal millennia. And those ones are just now waking up and becoming sapient again. And those are the golems that the Holy Knights ride. Because,
But of course.
yeah, no, spermatite beings really can't catch a break in Erobellica. You could say they get shafted.
I mean, I'm just kind of thinking of the properties and like what spermatite would be closest to for like stone
Yeah.
references, because you are speaking to like an earth science major here.
Uh,
So, so you said
honestly,
obsidian, but like here's the thing.
if obsidian could, like, immediately take the malleability of clay.
I mean, here's the thing, though, is my point. Obsidian is actually a very more iridescent stone, is the thing.
Hey, Kami, we're writing about coompire lore.
Yes, yellow.
And right now I'm on the God Split. Feel free to join in if you want.
Yeah, we're on the god split, but I'm also thinking as like the earth science major, what kind of stone would be closest to it? Because Ren said obsidian, which is like a silicon dioxide, which fair enough, it's a very durable material as is. But it's more so like, it's a very iridescent stone is the thing. So I'm just kind of thinking about that.
Again, I'm not the I'm not the final say on what exactly spermatite is. I'm
Fair
gonna
enough.
point at Kami over there.
Fair enough, Comey. If you want to hit me
I'm
up with like Earth Science,
guesstimating.
again, and I'm saying this now, Comey. If you want to hit me up with that shit, we can work on Earth Science shit. I am the Earth Scientist here, after all, and we're totally not all alcoholics who have nothing better to do. We get a lot of free time in the profession.
Uh, what, geologists?
Just any sort of Earth Scientist, we get a lot of free time.
Yes.
It depends, though. Usually, some have longer times than others, but generally speaking, I might go down paleontology, which isn't that bad. You know, it's just kind of like, you know, analyzing like certain grooves and saying like, ah, yes, this belongs to the spine of the cuckle fuck nut dinosaur. You know,
Radical.
and you know that's just calling it a day. So you know, free time.
And yes, I am writing an intentional slip where it says we instead of they at the beginning of this paragraph because of this author. And this is a very biased history.
It's totally not written from the perspective of one person.
Of
You
one
know,
of the few survivors from the coompire rebellion who literally just slutted it up in Cunningham throughout the whole thing.
so because this fucking channel I have, this is an unrelated note, but this because this relative account is newish, right? It's on my like alternate Google thing that I use for
Yes.
random shit. You want to know what it recommended me in my notification tabs? It fucking said suggested video, skibbity toilet,
I'm so
unironically.
sorry.
What the fuck, Google? Google suggested me 1. Skibbity toilet. 2. Ray William Johnson. How is that motherfucker still around? 1. That's my question. 2. Didn't he do some cringe shit? I forgot.
Okay, I actually think I can not put the we there because read this third sentence so far.
Fucking. But these aren't.
Granted, being 8 foot tall with fangs and retractable wings isn't fully to the form of mortals.
Yeah.
But these aren't exact. These were the first sculpted. The feral coompires aspire to be them once more.
Me and you are gonna have a field day with the feral coompires, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, I'll help you out there.
We're gonna
Though
be...
it's honestly really heavily written already.
Oh, I know, it's just, gotta bounce the shit back and forth. I am the Mortark, after all.
But yes, these were the first sculpted, the original coompires. The feral aspire to be them once more. The noble, the ones who see themselves noble, would call them coompire queens. Those who hide amongst mortals, well, those are some very mixed opinions.
Very mixed opinions. Absolutely mixed opinions.
What the fuck would a rock physiology be called?
A
Yes,
rock
rock
physiology.
biology.
Let me think about that.
And I need to make it a horny word too. Likely a portmanteau.
I can't think of anything other than mantle, really.
Spermatology.
Hmm.
Spermantling.
Spermantling, yeah.
Uh.
Mm.
Mm, fuck it, this is a rough drab. Rock biology. Name pending for now. Uh, but yeah, they absorbed lust energy much more rapidly.
I'll need to think
And,
of
huh?
I'll need to think of a term to help you out, but get back to me later about the spermatology shit.
Hello, Alozin. We're writing coompire lore. But basically, coompires before the Great Rebellion. Uh, so coompires, right?
Yeah.
They don't age because they're statues.
Well, I would imagine they would, but it would be like some sort of form of erosion, really.
No, they literally are immortal unless fully converted into mortality.
I mean, fair enough. My question is though, how would they handle erosion then, realistically speaking? Because
They're
that's like a because like I get what you mean, but like from a scientific like you're speaking to an Earth scientist
okay,
here,
so
right?
here's the deal, right?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Uh, Coompires are constantly sculpting themselves from the inside out, kind of like Chinese internal alchemy.
Okay. Hmm.
Um,
So there's like an internal reaction going on, basically, right?
they take in the cum. Uh, the cum is converted into raw lust energy.
All right.
Lust energy builds into builds into more spermatite, and that spermatite reinforces their body.
Okay. Yeah. No. This is totally just. This is totally
That
like
they can
the
acquire more cum, and the circle is complete.
the way you described them to me, they are definitely like I see the obsidian comet is going full circle because I'm imagining like it's like fucking magma or something internally and it just like repairs themselves, right? Like it's
Uh,
like a
More or
like
less.
yeah that makes sense now. All right, fair enough.
At
It,
least
it,
that's how it works for compires.
it's come full circle, so yeah, no,
Uh,
definitely this is a silicon based
I
stone,
know
so fair
Holy
enough.
Knight constructs can't really do it themselves, but compires can.
Well,
Or at
yeah,
least I think so.
well, yeah, no, that makes sense because I guess like it's like a you're basically the way I'm understanding it is kind of like an alchemy. Like again, you said the alchemy system, right?
Chinese internal alchemy.
Yeah. So for me, it looks like it turns into that into like some sort of like silicon based material powered by like this different element, and silicon's used for like batteries and such, like energy storage, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, no, that makes full circle. It definitely is. Spermatite is unironically looking to be like, realistically speaking, a lithium-based thing that I could probably sculpt, so to speak.
arguably, compires are silicon-based life forms rather than carbon,
Yeah,
if we were going into scientific terms.
we are going into scientific terms here. I could absolutely fucking work with this.
In a fantasy setting where it isn't really that deep.
It's not deep, but you are You have the Earth scientist here as like an
That would be the
assistant.
equivalent.
Fair. You do have the Earth scientist here, however. There is going to be like at least, even if
So,
it's bullshit, there's a little bit.
so with post-rebellion compires, right?
Right.
Because what we just talked about is pre-rebellion compires.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, because the ones that are sculpted before the rebellion are built really fucking different.
Different in terms of composition, I take it,
In
or
composition, yes. But also, they are the Chad to the modern compire soy jack.
Red, what if I told you this makes
Rather
total
the
sense?
Stacy.
Red, you understand this makes total sense from a geological standpoint, right? Because that actually happened in
Okay,
the
but
Earth's like
let me
that actually
explain
happened.
this.
Right, I am just saying though that actually happened on a scientific basis. Rocks had a lot more lithium and shit in them way back then, and the Earth physically can't produce more of it anymore. This makes total sense.
Um, so basically, well, no, because ancient compires still operate off the old rules.
Right.
But basically, more modern compires, right?
Yeah.
Compires are meant as sponges to absorb, like, fucking, what's the word? Ambient lust energy to prevent it
Mm-hmm.
from getting too out of control.
Right.
Now, a modern compire as a byproduct, uh, they take in cum, convert that internally into lust energy, which immediately works with the fluid of sperm to build into spermatite, allowing them
Right.
to reinforce their bodies.
Okay.
However, there are two extra steps to the modern coompire that the ancient coompire does not have to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Next, the 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 exterior that would erode
Right.
uh, is shed in a dust imperceivable to the eye in
Mm.
motes. And these motes eventually break down and, kind of like radiation, become ambient lust energy. And the more lust energy around a coompire, the more they have to eat.
Right.
A modern one, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Thus repeating the cycle, and this is all to prevent coompires from just. You ever play a mortal cultivation simulator?
I haven't, but I have seen you and a few others play it.
Okay, so basically, in a mortal cultivation simulator, people cultivate way too fast, and that's a huge plot point of the story.
Right.
Uh, Astarte basically put restrictions, made these extra steps on restricting coompires in just how powerful they could even get, much less how quickly they could get so powerful.
Mm.
Ancient coompires, they can take the forms of the surviving ones at least, have what I like to dub as true forms,
Right.
which are eldritch horrors based on their internal psyches,
Mm-hmm.
which are absolutely fuck off terrifying. Like, imagine an antediluvian, or
Yeah.
imagine Alucard from Hellsing.
Right.
Better yet,
Right.
imagine fucking Kane from Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you bring up the Kane ship before?
Uh, some of the first. Okay, so some of the first after the rebellion, like the progenitrixes of their I don't have a proper word for bloodline yet, but bloodline equivalent to like the type of you know what else isn't that deep? No, I wouldn't.
This is a muscle man joke. He's gonna say my mom, isn't he? Go on, Ione. Where's the punchline? You can bring it out. Where's that regular show quip, Ione? It's pretty funny. Ooh, fucking spermiology. That's a good name for it. That would make the most sense, especially since they're like a rock-based faction,
uh,
relatively speaking.
I mean, tags petrification because
Yeah.
that's how basically, you have true forms and converted compires.
Right. Right.
You know,
That's just what I think,
that's a
though.
classic vampire trope, and as a result, petrification tag.
Tags petrification. Yeah, I get you. It's just that's just what I think, right?
It's why occasionally, you're, hold on. It's why sometimes occasionally your sister or niece gets invited to a party. 3 months later, you were paying your taxes and you saw a statue like her.
Right.
And about 10 years later, the new baronet of the area. Looks suspiciously like her.
How quaint. Also, I'm gonna be right back real quick.
I believe it was a courtier. But to continue with this next paragraph, I believe it was a courtier of the chupacabras who once told me wealth is the true power in our world. Power is freedom, and freedom is sex. To which a holy knight drinking with us replied, power shouldn't be so freely wielded. Uh, to which the holy knight drinking with us replied,
Alright,
power
I'm back.
shouldn't be so freely wielded unless those without become oppressed. And as that story and as the rest of that Barbara, as the rest of that ensuing okay. I really like this paragraph. And Kami, if you're still in chat, please look. Just Haunter, read this fucking paragraph.
I believe it was a courtier of the chupacabras who once told me wealth is the true power in the world. Power is freedom, and the freedom is sex. To which a holy knight drinking with us responded, power shouldn't be so freely wielded, unless those without become oppressed. And as the rest of the ensuing brawl is a story for another time, I feel those quotes are quite relevant to what comes next. That is, yes. Yes. I approve of this message. My name is Haunter, and I approve of this message.
Because to remind you, this is right before we start writing the Coompire Rebellion. Uh, however, I just realized something. I just realized something fucked up.
What?
Ancient coompires are dickless Fuda with no balls, technically.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay,
You aren't wrong.
like most of them are, because hear me out.
Go on.
During the creation era, coompires and holy night golems were the same creatures. They were all just like really hot Fuda spermatite constructs.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then the ones who got taken by Astarte were, you know, just remade female and, you know, 8 foot tall hot vampire ladies. So technically, the ones that weren't fresh sculpted afterwards and had survived the creation era are dickless Fuda with no balls. Except, not really, because divine juxtaposition and whatnot. And I need them to be female for the narrative of my story, for the narrative of things.
Right.
But I was once, so I was once browsing various image boards. This was like 10 years back, but I need to share this story. So, as a young, back when I was 19 or 20, because your girl a hag,
No, you're not a hag.
I'm turning 29 in March.
Okay, but you're not a hag. You are not a hag.
I'm gonna call myself a hag.
Call yourself a hag all you want. You're pretty good. We like older women. She's not even that old. I'm the youngest here. I'm like 21.
But when I was 19 or 20, 29 is not hag based. I heard lore, then I saw tired up Rin. Yeah, I'm writing lore for a setting that I am a writer for and part of the development team of Erobellica.
Milfage. I'm gonna tell Sheepy that.
Don't you dare call yourself a hag at 39. Look, I am dreading the ensuing 30 of next year, is all I'm going to say on this matter before getting back to the subject. But to redo the story, about. Okay, so next year I'm a hag. Don't worry. I'll still VTube as a hag. I'm never going to stop.
You're just gonna be Otis age, you know?
My headset just died. Fuck. It's low on battery and I'm not sure if it's charging.
That sucks.
Yeah, but okay, so to get to the point, I was browsing image boards and for porn because
I mean, right, it happens.
Because what else is the internet for? And I saw a thread that said dickless Fudo with no balls. And the first responses were all, so a woman then, so women. Do you mean a girl? And that has lived in my head rent-free ever since. Dickless Fuda with no balls will forever live in my head rent-free. Because I just stopped and I started laughing for a good 3 rules. It, it lives in my head rent free to this day.
Mm.
Ah. Anyways, since my headset is dying and since I have finished that story, we are going to end off the stream here if there's nothing else. And
Yeah.
if you want to know how the ancient coompires became modern coompires, well, that's going to be a story either for another day or for the coompire rulebook, Play Arabellica. Well, the paid version of the coompire rulebook. Like,
Right.
the rules themselves, I'm not keen on charging. Like, if you want to just pick up the raw rules and stats, I'm pretty sure you can do that even now. But you might have to pay. I don't know what model. I have no control over sales. But
We're the undead lore people, right? Don't look at us.
this will be one of the stories in the Coompire the Coompire Baronies book. Is all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough.
So if you want to see the full story and check that out, keep up with the development of Arabellica. And you'll probably see it soon enough. Because we usually publish things as soon as they're ready. We're not like some Gary Walters who have a storehouse of things for the next 7 years and just don't release the models. Like, no, we're going as fast as we can work. Uh, but with that, thank you all for tuning in. I have links to the Arabellica Twitter and my good friend here, Haunter's Twitch, because he streams over there.
I go live tomorrow.
Yes, he usually also streams at late nights.
Yeah,
Uh,
usually at like 9. Not
if
as
you
late as
like
Ren.
Florida men, go check him out. But
It's just me fucking doing whatever I feel like. Tomorrow is Ruina for the record. Wish me luck, Ren. It's tier 3 star of the cities. Again.
radical, good luck. Do you know who you're starting with? Oh wait,
No,
do your fucking realizations.
yes, I have been told to do my
Do
realizations,
your
which means
fucking realizations. It will make the 3 stars
well,
much better.
actually, wait, no. I can't do my realizations because I'm up to the Gibero one, and that's like a pain in the ass. I've been told.
It is, but once you do it, you're going to breeze through Star of the City.
Yeah, but I've also been told that just spam yes, and that's all I've been told.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyways, that is the end of the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Okay, okay. Bye bye.